If you are like me and you want to learn boxing at home by yourself, I get it. Maybe you can't afford boxing lessons, or maybe there just aren't any boxing gyms nearby. So give me a few minutes, and after these 3 tips, you will have all the information you need to start mastering boxing all on your own. At the end of this video, I will also give you a bonus tip, which will be the most optimal way for you to get good as fast as possible. Number 1, consume a lot of boxing content. While many people prefer practicing over watching boxing, it's important that you watch some fights occasionally. Maybe even find a fighter with the same body build as yours and observe how they fight. This can give you valuable insights on how to adapt techniques depending on your build. But just watching fights isn't enough. You need to see how they train as well. So look them up on YouTube and observe what exercises they do and how they train. But the most important thing you should be watching is tutorials. You cannot learn something that you don't know. So start with basic tutorials where they cover a broad range of skills like footwork, movement, and punching. As you begin to practice, you can start searching for more specific tutorials depending on what you find challenging or hard to understand. I actually have a series called How to Fight that you can check out if you want. I will leave a pop-up somewhere up here. Tip number 2, practice the fundamentals. There is no need to learn the Mike Tyson peekaboo style or the Soviet style when first starting out. If you don't know the basic boxing fundamentals, you won't do it correct anyways. Focus on practicing the fundamentals over and over. But of course, I encourage you to do it for fun, just here and there. Shadowboxing wherever you are and just testing out new things is a great way to get familiar with boxing. But when practicing for real, start with learning the basic boxing stance and movement. Tip number 3, film yourself training. If you're training boxing by yourself, sometimes it can be extremely difficult to spot your own mistakes. But by occasionally filming yourself training, you can get an outside perspective and take notes on what needs improvement. It's a lot easier to spot mistakes from an external viewpoint rather than your own. If you're lucky enough to know a more experienced boxer than yourself, ask them to review your training footage and to give you some tips on where you can improve. I have done this myself and it took my boxing to another level. And finally, here's the bonus tip. In a perfect world, you would have someone to learn boxing with from the start. And if you are this lucky, you can learn holding and hitting pads together, teach each other things you've learned by yourself, and it's more motivating to have someone to train and learn with. The only thing I recommend not doing together as beginners is sparring. Beginners have no clue how to hold back and spar properly. When light sparring, I should almost be able to keep my hands down without too much fear of getting hurt. You're not supposed to clench your fist while sparring, but rather play around with controlled movements without hurting each other. I have completely stopped sparring with beginners because after a while they just start hitting harder and harder and they can't control their anger. If you get hit hard enough in the back of the head, you can even end up with brain damage. So it's best to avoid sparring at the complete beginner level. If you don't know what tutorials to watch or where you can start learning boxing, lucky for you, you can check out some of my videos right here. Share this video with a friend that you can start learning boxing with, and like and follow for more.